Hi, I'm Mimika Cooney and welcome to Mimika TV, the place to build a brilliant business. This week we're talking about mindset hacks for driven entrepreneurs. Contributing author of the Inspiration Bible and Spiritual Awakening, Brenda's mission is to empower women in business globally to realize their full potential as leaders and successful entrepreneurs. She uses a potent combination of business strategy, mindset, and incredible faith to quickly facilitate change, find their edge, and grow their business. Her insights on business, leadership, mindset, and spirituality have been featured on various blogs, radio shows, and podcasts. So welcome, Brenda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I have to say, you have to tell us how you say your surname, because I know it's Greek, but is it Tsiaousis?
No, it's Tsiaousis. Just drop the T.
Tsiaousis. Okay, there you go. Because I'm half Greek, so for me, I'm always going for the phonetic. Like, you never know, because I know I get my name murdered all the time, but that's fine.
Well, the Greek pronunciation is Tsiaousis.
But I mean, what I thought. There's always the O is very pronounced. But there you go. So you definitely have a Greek husband. So we've established that.
I do.
So that's why I thought I wasn't going to murder your name on the intro. But I'm so glad to have you here. So for those who recently joined us, Brenda and I are both South Africans. So yeah, you get to listen to our strange accents for today, which is awesome, because I feel finally at home. We can just tell it like it is, like us South Africans do. She's in Australia and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, on the east coast of the USA. So this is the joys of technology. So let's dive right in. Now, I looked at your bio and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl has been around. Like, seriously, she's been done so many things over many years. I'm not even going to get into the story of how you got into Australia in the first place. But what I know that you do really well, and I've been in your Facebook group recently, is just knowing that you really know how to kick butt. You know how to get people off the tissues and to get them set on the right direction, thinking better, and moving forward. Now, I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me. And, feel free, if you've just joined us, to click the tell a little bird and let your followers know. We do have the comment section open, so feel free to ask questions as we go along. And I'm sure Brenda's going to have some great content to share. And just to remind everyone, here at Mimika TV, we do a goodie giveaway, which Brenda has kindly donated, and she's even kindly donated two. So we'll get to that at the end. That's why it pays to stay. We'll ask a question based on the content, and then whoever is the fastest finger typer can get the answer and will win that. So we keep it pretty fair. So knowing what we need to know, let's dive right in. So, I have to admit, trying to get a title for today's interview was kind of a mission, because you have so many things that we could cover. But what I know is that you do well is the mindset part. Now, tell us now, we're speaking to entrepreneurs mostly, and I know for myself, I have these pity parties. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Like, why did I sign up for this? Take 10 times harder. And everyone says, just do this and you get 6 figures. And I'm like, okay, that's lovely for them, but it's not happening for me. Like, I'm sure if you agree, click in the comments there. So give us how we can get into the right mindset. I mean, how would you coach someone who's entrepreneur, who's just really feeling like, oh my gosh, this is like so hard? What do you do? What's your advice?
Well, first of all, I think that, we all go through those days, so don't be too tough on yourself. That's just how it is. And I think online is even harder than offline, to tell you the truth, because we're all trying to put our best foot forward. And I think it's that we look at everybody else on social media, and they all seem to be doing 6 figures, 7 figures. All of this stuff just seems to be in our news feed all the time, which really makes us compare ourselves to other people. And this brings up all sorts of things like the I'm not good enough. Oh, I shouldn't be on here. Who says I'm the expert? Oh, I need to go just not even do this. I'll just give up and crawl back into my bed for the day. And I always just say, you've got to, first of all, just put things into context. You cannot compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. You're on your own journey, and you need to stay focused on that journey, because when we take our eyes off the goal, guess what happens? You lose track of where you are, of what it is that you want to achieve in your specific journey as well. So that would be the first thing, is take your eyes off.
Shiny objects, right?
Yes.
So did this. I better do that. Oh, I know. I'm so guilty. Hands up. I know I'm terrible like that. Every time. And that's why in actual fact, this week, I unsubscribed to about 20 different newsletters and Facebook groups and things. I just had to shut down the noise, because I felt like my head was going to explode. Like, seriously, at this time of the year, I'm sure you're finding it the same. People are kind of slogging through. We're almost at Christmas. We're like getting to that stage where, you might have had these ideas in January and maybe not all of them worked out. I mean, for myself as well, I've done several launches. Some of them tanked. Some of them were like, okay. But it's certainly not the 6 figures that we're hearing of, right? So I definitely like that idea idea. So kind of stay in your own lane, right?
Oh,
so
yes, absolutely.
What would you say?
Walk your own path. That's the thing. Be very clear about what it is that you want. And I've actually written them down over here, because when I get off on a tangent, I lose track of exactly what it is that I'm saying, and I just roll. And so I've decided, look, Brenda, stay on form today. Be organized. And so I've written a whole lot of notes over here to go through to And one of them is definitely to have clarity. You know, when you have clarity of exactly who you are, what your strengths are, what your skill sets are, you know, and what you stand for specifically, and who your target market is and where to find them, you're more inclined to be able to stay on your own path without comparing yourself to other people. It is difficult, you know. I do have a little technique, a few techniques as well when you do come up with those limiting beliefs. And it's that I'll share one of those techniques for you later, which is exciting and it's fun and it's easy to do, and it's actually brings a lot of joy back into you. And you realize that how silly am I really to constantly think of these things, you know, these limiting thoughts that keep me back? Because after all, there's only one enemy, and that's you, if you allow yourself to be that enemy. You know, so definitely clarity, first step. Really get clear. Who are you? Okay, first of all, you know, what is your identity? How do you want to be seen?
Okay, so how are we if we're having a midlife like a crisis, identity crisis? I don't know what I should be, because so-and-so said I should do this, and then so-and-so said I should do this, and everything sounds great, but, you know, what would you say to someone who's kind of feeling like, who does, and I do work with clients in the same position, because I do a lot of branding for people and helping them with their marketing. They don't know who they're talking to. It's so hard. Like my husband has a saying, and I'm sure he didn't design it, but, you know, throwing darts in the dark isn't going to find you anybody.
No.
You're just going to make a lot of mess. So let's just, before we get on to the next thing, I think this is an important part. How do we find that clarity? What do you do to nail it down?
I have a whole lot of
personality tests or something, or
yes,
what do you do?
Some of them. So I have done a whole lot of personality tests on myself as well, and probably lots of people have. And you can do them online and offline. For example, you can find out exactly what your MBTI is. That's your Myers-Briggs personality style. You know, whether you've done DISC, you can perhaps do that. I don't think that that's cast in stone in any way. I think internally, right here, you know who you are. All right. But the thing is, perhaps you're just too afraid to find out exactly what who you are is capable of. And so we downplay ourselves in life. We don't really and truly let our true light shine. We don't bring out our inherent potential, because why? When we do this, we actually have to become the people, okay, that we have inside of us already. And that's hard. That means I need to be accountable. That means that I actually have to put my money where my mouth is and step out and follow my dream and take those huge steps, which are frightening. They really and truly are. You know, so I would just say, go and do a skills analysis on yourself. Write down, make a list of every single thing that you studied, everything that you enjoy, or the things that you love to do, the things that you don't love to do, the things that you are terrible at, okay? And once you...
There would be filing. I know that. I delegate that. And house cleaning.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I hate... Oh, I like a clean house, but... So, yeah, sorry, that was my tangent again.
That's okay. I'm resonating totally. So, yeah, and once you've made that list, you know, just go back to the list and have a look at the things that actually pop up at you. You will know, you know, when you're really in tune with yourself and your gut feel and your instinct, something on that list will tell you, this is what I love to do. This is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm really good at, you know. For me, it is, I went in circles for very many years after arriving in Australia, really not knowing who I was. I had a real identity crisis, absolutely. And it's taken me years to really come to understand that, you know what I really love to do most is inspire. I really love to inspire. I have a whole lot of qualifications and a whole lot of skills that can add to that. But the thing that I do the best is to help people to believe in themselves and to inspire them, you know, and by me doing that, they become better at believing in themselves too. When you believe in yourself, obviously your confidence increases and you're more prone to want to step out there and take action on the things that you love to do.
I don't know. I have to admit, now that I'm almost 40, I'm feeling a lot more confident in where I was even 10 years ago. Because I was like, I was having this conversation with my mom today. In actual fact, she's visiting from England, so we're having lots of cups of tea, which is fun. And you know, I'm like, damn it, I will not do this anymore. I know who I am now, and I'm so much more confident, and I will not force myself to do things. You know that feeling where it's going against your gut, like I don't want to do this, and that's a good sign. And I think I have to agree with you, and I know you talk about this a lot, and whenever I hear you speak at other places, it's you really need to tune into that. And I know for myself, for years I've downplayed that, like, oh, what are people going to think? Like, who's going to pay me for that? Like, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not qualified enough, or I don't know enough people, or my email list isn't big enough, or I don't know enough of the right people. I mean, all these things, like, it's junk talk. Getting through that.
It is. We have this little inner self-critic, and this little thing just doesn't stop chatting all day long. It says, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And sometimes the scary thing is that the voice sounds very like you, like yourself as well, or could sound like somebody else, your mother, your father, somebody who's close to you. The fact is, you've really got to become friends with the inner critic. You've really got to just let the inner critic know, hey, you know what? I love you. I know that you're there, but I've got it. I've actually got it, because the inner critic is there to keep us safe. I read this beautiful book by Tara Moore, and she has a book called Playing Big, and she talks about your inner critic, and she actually says, give it a name. So I have. My inner critic is called Hagar the horrible, as in ha. Hagar. Yeah. And I have a friend who's got horrible Helga, and so that's the thing. Horrible Helga or Hagar will tell you all the time exactly how you can't do anything. She talks in black and white. Okay, that's it. You either can or you either can't. There is no in between for Hagar or Helga or whoever it is. And I'd love to know if you have a horrible Helga or a horrible Hagar. Pop it in the chat section and let us know. What is your inner critic called? Do you give her a name?
I often have there goes Moni Minnie again. Such a joy kill. Seriously, get out of my facial.
It's true. But the fact is, and we've got to come to terms with the fact that that voice is there. And that voice is actually us. It's our unconscious. It's something inside of us saying, do you know what? All I'm doing is keeping you safe. And when you realize that that is just a safety net, and you can go and talk to it as if you're speaking to a little child, because remember, all of your fears came in during those 7 impressionable years between the ages of 0 and 7. And that's what's created and formed your belief system. And it's you stacking up evidence throughout your life, that keep on making that belief that you have stronger and, more fixed in you. But the fact is, you created the belief. It doesn't matter when you created the belief, you did. So which means that if you created the belief and you've now become aware of the fact that this is just a limiting belief, you can uncreate it by choosing a new belief.
Right. So it's like we don't have to just go with what we're thinking, and we don't have to just go with what the first thing that pops in our head. And I know, and I'm sure we have some people thinking the same thing. Well, why do I have to care about this stuff? Because I can guarantee you, if you watch anybody from the outset, it's hard when it's your own business. Okay. And as I said, I have the same problem when I'm looking at myself. It's like you can't see the wood for the trees, but someone else can be objective, which is why it's great to hire a mentor or a coach. And I know, Brenda, you do coaching too. But even if things like I watch, some of my favorite shows are Shark Tank or The Profit by Marcus Lemonis. And usually, I think he said this once before, he says, usually business problems are personal problems in disguise. Yes. Because us as entrepreneurs, we think, why am I not making money? Why is my business not working? Why is my branding not attracting the right people? And I think it's really, we need to reverse engineer it and start to go back to where it starts, which is ourselves, right?
Yes.
So this is why I feel, I think this is a very important topic, because no matter how much you earn, whether you're a millionaire or whether you earn, 100,000 a year, you still have the same mental blocks and experiences that anybody. So I don't think none of us are immune. So that's definitely for sure. So what would you say? Okay, so for those who've recently joined us, we've been talking about, we've just discussed about the inner critic, but we've also said how clarity is important. We went over that. So if you missed that, you can go back to the replay. So what would you say next? We mentioned clarity. Again, this is me trying to focus on one thing at one time. And then, I see, I've already lost my train of thought. At the end of the day, I haven't had enough coffee. Sorry, excuse me. So what would you say is next? Because we've talked about the inner critic. What would you say what would be another mindset hack, if you want to call it that, to really drive you to reach your peak performance?
I wouldn't consider it a mindset hack, but I would think that something that you've just mentioned is, and it's on my list, the second thing is focus.
I say to my friends all the time, listen, I use the F word a lot, and it's focus, because I have to have it right in front of me. You can tell I just have a little bit of ADD, but as long as I can have it written down on my little Post-it notes in front of me, it's really hard to stay focused. Yeah. So what else are your tips? I mean, it sounds like, well, duh, but give us some real practical tips.
Well, I'll tell you one. One of the things is, the reason why I say focus is because we do get distracted a lot, okay? Even when you're alone as a solo entrepreneur working from home, there are distractions around you. You know, the dishwasher needs to be put on, your washing needs to be folded up, the telephone rings, you've got your emails, you've got, heaven forbid, social media, good heavens, to keep you busy all day long, so that you can lose track of exactly how much time you spend on other things and you don't spend enough time on your own business. And that's what's important, is to be able to focus on what it is that you really need to get done so that you can move forward in your business. One of the things that I've found recently is an app online called Focus at Will. And it's
type that in.
Focus at Will, WILL.com. And all it is, it's almost like meditation music, but not. It's more along the line Mozart, Bach, some really beautiful music intertwined with these binaural beats. And I think you can sign up for something like $4.95 a month or something, but it gives you a timer. So you can set the timer, plug it in, and it actually channels your brain so that you become more focused at what it is that you're doing, and I love that. So you get the free one and the paid one. I just use the free because it's 60 minutes at a time. And I think that if you can set your timer for those 60, or even 50-minute sprints, do something for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break, then that's cool. That's a practical thing that you can do. The second thing is, that you can do is to make sure that you plan the night before. Write out the list of things that you need to do the next day and then go and work them. And, as Brian Tracy said, eat the damn frog, Do the biggest thing first. Do the thing that gets you, the most results first. Don't leave it until last, because by the time you try and tackle it last, your energy levels will have depleted. You won't, you might feel you're having a crappy day and, it doesn't work. So just eat that frog. Do the hardest first.
Definitely, especially after you've had your coffee. Like, I do not touch anything hard until I've had my coffee. So if I know that, for me, between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. is really my most productive times, because I've removed all the other distractions, I'm able to focus. So we mentioned their Focus at Will is the app, so we can do that. What are some other things? What are your favorite ways? Shutting down all the
different
applications.
Get off social media, shut down applications. I know that there's also this little app that I've been tempted to sign up to, but I haven't yet, and I've forgotten its name. But what it is, it actually logs you out of all applications until you've actually completed your task. So what you've done is you cannot go onto social media or anything while this app is running in the background. You have to focus on doing your Word document or whatever it is that you're doing, and only once you've completed it can you go on. It's like a reward system.
Exactly. And it's like, your online policeman, we need to finish up. Seriously, it's so bad. I certainly need to do something like that, because yes, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give myself 20 minutes. Like the last 3 days, I know there's some things I've had to do, but I would rather get distracted by stuff that aren't really important. And then we end up in crisis mode, right? Because then it's the last minute push, and then it's like freaking out, and I have a flap and everything's like the sky's falling. And I'm like, well, why'd you do it to yourself? Seriously.
And to tell you the truth, the other day as well, I was just thinking about how easy it is to get distracted online and how often we just don't get our stuff done. That's me quite often, especially when I work. It's sort of like, now I reward myself. Brenda, if you've been a good girl and you've done everything, you can go onto Facebook, because I love Facebooking. I mean, I'm always on Facebook. My group is on Facebook. My girl's on Facebook. So to me, it's like, just keep on work at it, and then reward yourself with some Facebooking time. So it's really great.
And I like that idea, like the rewards, and it might work. It works for my dogs and works for my kids, so it may as well work for me too. So
it does.
So give us the next. What's your next? I know you've got some capacious notes there. What is the next one?
Okay, so the next one is basically to take inspired action, and I think that sometimes we don't, because we get so caught up in going in loops all the time. We don't take inspired action, and the only way to get what you want.
Is that what you mean by the difference between action and inspired action? Is actually a difference between just taking any action?
Oh yes, you can take any action. You can take any action. I can take action right now and go get myself a cup of coffee. That's action. Okay. Inspired action in my business, this means that it's focused. It's intentional. It means that I have a game plan that I'm working to, a structure and a strategy. Okay. I'm not just willy-nilly pulling out things out of the air and just thinking it's going to work. It isn't. Okay. I've planned it, and then I go and I execute it. It's that inspired action going out there, and then being authentic in every single one of your interactions with people. It's just be you. Bring yourself to the table. bring your quirks, your story, bring your, it doesn't matter, your good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I'm busy rebranding my website at the moment, and on it, I have a special place there for the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I think that people need to know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go put up a face there. That's not me, you know, and I've done this for such a long time in my life. You know, for so many years, I've hid behind the mask and presented this image to the world. And it's only through me moving here and finding my own identity that I realized that, you know what, I actually like who I am. I actually am certain of who I am. And it's that certainty that carries across in everything when you take action. You know, it's that confidence. It's the courage that you need to have, especially when you're online, you know, to have that courage and the confidence to be visible. Being visible is frightening. It really is.
Yeah, it's basically, you feel naked, like you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to that, you know, as a childlike fear of rejection, because we almost like, we don't want to offend people. We don't want to make them upset. So we kind of behave and do the little dance to make people think, and especially like online, well, you know, perfect, like example, like I've been a professional photographer for 12 years, and I do work with entrepreneurs taking their professional photos and headshots. But what I'm finding more and more is people really do want to get more down to basics. So it's less about the glam and the making it look perfect. It's more about the authentic, the real, like, what's your story? And it's very, it's very appealing to people when you can just show them the real you. So I have to totally agree. And I think from a business perspective, when you show more of your personality and show them a little bit of skin, it makes them feel like, oh, so I'm not the only one. Oh, you know, you're also thinking like me. So she must know, if she's experiencing the same things as me, then she must understand me. And I think that makes it so much easier. It doesn't become selling.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
it becomes serving. And not just that. I think that we've got to change our mindset around sales as well, because sales isn't sales. Sales is actually serving. And then when you do it properly, you have a conversation with somebody, it just automatically just turns into something that, okay, well, you know what, you have what I want and you're able to help me and serve me. I'll work with you, basically. You know, there is obviously a process to go through. But yes, I do think that mindset in everything, and mindset's not even just for entrepreneurs. Mindset is in every single day. You do not see somebody who's an athlete who runs the Comrade Marathon or who does these triathlons with a shitty mindset. You don't. If they do have one, they get it kicked out of them very, very, very quickly. Because you know what? You need to be able to dig down deep into that something that's inside of you to be able to move you forward. Otherwise, you're never going to realize your goals. You know, I firmly believe that each and every single person on this call and off has been created for a purpose. On purpose, for a purpose, and that they all have dreams and aspirations. It just depends on, you know, do you want to follow that dream or not? Are you afraid to follow that dream or not? Because sometimes we are terribly, terribly afraid to step out and follow that which we know we've been called to do. And the fact is, is that if you don't step out and do what you're called to do, somebody else will, you know. And it's the same thing for you in your business as well. You've got to put yourself out there. Nobody will market you for you. Okay. Nobody will change your mindset for you. You've got to choose. You've got to become aware. This is the way I'm acting. This is what's holding me back. Okay. When you become aware, you have a choice to change it. Okay. And you've got to take responsibility for your life. You've got to take responsibility for every single one of your actions, whether it is, your results, your non-results, your actions, your non-actions, whether it is stuff-ups or good things that happen to you. You take responsibility for it. Nobody else can. It's only up to you.
And it's like, I think it's almost like, I like to think of it as you're taking yourself to the edge of the cliff, and all of us are so fearful to look over the edge because we feel like we're gonna fail. But sometimes it's when you take that step of faith and you realize, oh, you know, that actually wasn't so bad. Or like the first time you learned to ride a bike, or the first time you learned to dive in the pool, you're like scared. But once you do it, you're like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. And then you exercise it. And I think that's the thing. It's a muscle.
Yes,
confidence is exercised. It's not something that just someone knocks you on the head and says, hey, now you are completely confident, got your life together. It doesn't work that way.
You just keep on practicing. You know, you put yourself out there every single day. You keep on doing things. And, you know, you've got to take a look at the things that you're doing as well, because it's the same as the golf player who eventually goes out there and he stands on the golf course all day long and he keeps on swinging. And he does this without a coach, and he gets really good at the swing. And he thinks, oh, wow, practice makes perfect. But you know what? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. That's what it does. So it depends what you're practicing. Are you practicing it in the right way? Because there is a right way and a wrong way. If you keep on swinging, but you're swinging that golf stick in the wrong way, you are getting conditioned and you're creating that habitual, that neural pathway in your brain to say that this is the way I'm swinging. You do it habitually after a while, it becomes permanent until you realize that I'm not getting to the hole in one. I'm not getting anywhere close to it because why? The way I've been swinging is not the right way. Okay, I need a coach that can look at me and see how am I standing, how am I holding that golf stick, doing. And I don't play golf, so I don't even know how to.
Neither do I. My husband does, but I'm like, interesting analogy. But yes, I totally understand it. And the older we get as well, it's harder for us to change. Like it's like at the moment, I've been practicing for a skating routine. Okay, it's one of those bucket list things. Like I knew I wanted to do as a kid, never got around to it. Then I had a baby and thought I'd given up, but no, I'm determined. I'm going to do this. And I've been having to relearn skills from before and unlearn bad habits. Like, as you said, you create these habits and you're so comfortable doing them. Breaking them is much harder. So what would you say would be good tips for that? Just do something new, but force yourself into do in another way.
I think you have to be aware of it first. So you can't break a habit unless you see it as a habit. You can't break a habit unless you're aware that it doesn't serve you. When you realize that you're doing something over and over and over again, and you come to that awareness that it doesn't serve you, then you can make a choice to be able to change it. And then you've got to decide, what do I need to change it with? And then go find something, because it's the same as a limiting belief. And remember, I said I'd share a little technique with you, how to get rid of those limiting beliefs. Well, yes.
Okay, so give us that.
So and this is the same thing as breaking a habit, I suppose, as well. You can just apply it. Is to take a piece of paper, and I did this with my coach about 2 weeks ago. It was hysterical. I even had my son and my mother-in-law running out of their rooms to come and see what was happening. It was so hysterical. You take a piece of paper and you write down every single belief, and it could be nobody will buy my stuff, people don't like me, what if I fail, what is it? This is so hard. Business is tough. All of those beliefs, because these are things that go around in your head, and you write them down, as many as you like in any case, and then you read them aloud. But when you read it aloud, you don't read it in your own voice. You use the most pathetic, squeaky, mousy, or ridiculous voice you could possibly find. So it would be something like this. Business is really tough. And you pull this way. And when you listen to yourself and you hear yourself say that, it is so ludicrous, okay, that what it does is it actually scratches and it breaks the pattern that you've been running in your own mind. And so what you do is when you say that as well, you hear your voice saying it, it becomes ridiculous, and then you start giggling. You laugh. And you laugh. You force that laughter out, and then you say that thing again in that squeaky voice until eventually you have scratched that little record so badly that you cannot believe it again. But you can't just leave it there now. Now I have to replace it with something that's positive, something that's uplifting, something. So I've got to reframe that. So I would say, business brings me joy and I find it easy to do, for example. And then you make that your truth. But you know what? These are just simple little techniques which you do, because why? We run these things in our brain all the time. We run these stories and then we believe the stories. So there's this little quote that says, don't believe everything you think. And I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
Because it's funny, it's like our own brain and thought processes hijack our own thinking. That
of course they do.
I so have to do a video on this. Like, two personalities, like, seriously, don't like you. Seriously, got to bet, like, really, who's really going to care? I'm like, I know I can. I'll be like, equate. We have to visualize it, because it's that ridiculous. It's
is.
Like, really? Did I really believe that?
Yeah.
If I look at it, I'm sure if you're a parent as well, you understand that when you have your child come home and they start talking negatively about themselves, you immediately want to sort of eliminate that talk and say, no, that was great. I'm glad you did it. Even though they failed, and you want to encourage them. So, but it's funny how as we get adults, and then we all get grown up and then become business owners, but we still have the same old habits. So
exactly. And you know what? You would never speak to your best friend or your child or anything in the same way in which your inner critic talks to yourself. You would never tell your child, you can't do that thing that you're dreaming and hoping. My daughters want to become my little one wants to become a paleontologist, and my other one wants to become a rock star. Who am I to crush those dreams? And to say to her, you'll never be able to be a rock star. Paleontologist, you can't even spell or do maths. How are you going to become a paleontologist? I would never say that to my daughter, never. What I would do is I encourage her, and I'd look for ways to help her to be able to achieve what it is that she wants to achieve, within reason, of course. If it's not something that's going to kill her, I'm not going to let her do that, obviously. And the same thing with yourself. Why on earth would you want to hold on to those beliefs, those limiting thoughts, okay, that are so detrimental to you achieving the goal that you've set yourself? Good heavens, So make those thoughts ludicrous. Laugh about them, bring in humor, turn them into something that's ridiculous. And when you do turn them into something ridiculous and you laugh about it, you will in your own mind realize how silly it is. And then you change it and you choose something that is much more uplifting, empowering, positive, something that will get you moving forward.
Definitely. Well, those are really awesome things. And I know sometimes we think, we think, well, this sounds like basic, like, why am I not doing this? But it's the taking that inspired action and actually doing it, which is important. So do you have another thing on your list? What is your next one?
Oh, I have plenty on my list. A morning ritual.
Oh, yes, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, a morning ritual every single morning. You know what? Sometimes we've got to we've got to condition our brains into doing something and to getting us into peak performance. When you see an athlete going out there, they get themselves pumped up before stuff. The guy who does the game that enters the boxing ring, back in his dressing room, he's already doing his stuff. He's already getting himself geared up mentally for what's going to be happening in the ring. We should be doing that every single day. Do you know what? Life is tough enough out there. We see enough in our feed, in the social media feeds all day long. The negativity, which brings you down. It reduces your energy level. And if you're constantly looking at it, you're unconsciously feeding it into your mind. So what we do is bring yourself up by creating a morning ritual. And it could be anything. I've written a few ideas of you. Some of them is play yourself some loud pumping music. This morning I did Tina Turner. Somebody posted it in my group, and I just love Tina Turner. And it was, let me just try and think of what it was again. Anyway, you can just imagine she is that loud bopping beat, just really with it. And I love that. So play music, read yourself a poem, say affirmations, write yourself an affirmation, and stick it up somewhere on your mirror, on your steering wheel, on your spectacle box, on your computer, wherever you go, and say that affirmation over and over and over again to yourself. Eventually, it will sink in, it will take root, and you will start enacting that which you keep on believing and saying. Devotions. I do a daily devotion every single morning when I wake up. That's part of my strategy. Dance. Take a dance break. Just
shake it up.
Like, shake it up.
Exactly. This Taylor Swift song is like so fabulous because I saw her live with my daughter in June, and it was like there were all these teenagers, and I'm like, and she's like, oh gosh, that's fun. I'm like, I don't care. At this stage of my life, I don't care what people think. But I tell you, it's impressive emotional and physical release in you, and then you feel a lot lighter. You just throw it out there.
It does. Tony Robbins says that for you to be able to change your state, you need to be able to change your focus, okay, and your physiology. And then there's a third thing, which I've forgotten, obviously. But still, changing the way in which you feel at that specific moment. Just change your physiology, which means dance. This morning on the way to school, my girls are 10 and 11 in the car. She said, can we listen to that song? And I said, cool. And I was there, hands up, doing my bopping all the way. People were driving around me. They were probably thinking, yeah, she's lost it all. She's had it all this morning. That's okay. And, it sets the tone for the day. Another one, journal. So I love, everybody says, I don't have time to journal. You know what? It is so therapeutic to journal.
It's not like you're writing a novel, right? I call it a brain dump. Like I have a lot of stuff in my head. When you go to bed and you're like, okay, I know I'm going to do this. Sometimes just writing it out makes you think, okay, I've released it. I've put it on pieces of paper, even if you come back to it later. And sometimes it's just like it doesn't even make sense. I'm like, what was I writing? But then again, it's released my sort of baggage. Would you say?
It does, absolutely. What it does is it just creates space in your brain. It really and truly does. And it puts things into perspective, because in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you can come back and you can read over the stuff as well. And you can see how you've actually moved on or not, from that specific thing. It's the same as, all the worries and the problems that we have. I take care of it that if you had to take them off metaphorically now, take the problems and just metaphorically take them in your hand at night and put them in the bottom drawer next to your bed and then shut the drawer. When you wake up the next morning and you open up that drawer, half of those worries will be gone. It's because we keep them in here and then we loop. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Broken record.
Exactly, So just do these little things, They may seem silly in first, but these are really tiny little simple techniques that just really help you. Another one, prayer and meditation. I know that there are a lot of people that love meditation. Well, you can get lots of meditation on YouTube these days. I use an app called Harmonics, which is also fantastic. I think Mind Valley is the creator of it as well. And they do...
as an OM.
OM and then Harmonics.
Okay. I want to type it in here.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm spelling this right. Yep.
And,
okay, that's good.
That is fantastic because they've got a whole range of them as well. And I think, some of them are called the Spark. Some of them are called, they have different ones, 15 minutes and 30 minutes. And you can choose one that's applicable for you. And it works on the binaural beats. So you can play it in the morning, you can play it while you're working, just not while you're driving, or even just before you go to bed at night. You can even use it and overlay your own affirmations. Create your own affirmations and then overlay that music with your own affirmations yourself. It's so easy to do. And then just listen to it all the time. And these are things that really will get you in peak state for the next day. It's like setting an intention.
Definitely. It's the way, because where the man or woman thought process goes, there's where they shall go, right? I don't know. I'm totally murdering that quote, but you know what I mean. Like, wherever you think is real, end up, which is kind of like, well, duh. And I know it's like, I'm awful. I'm like, here I am talking about this, and I'm like, even in the last 24 hours, I had like a little bit of one of those pity parties, and I was the only one at the party. So I kind of realized that's not so much fun by myself. So yeah, that's why we have to kick ourselves up the butt and just, get it moving. So let's do one more thing, because I know we've been screaming through the content. But before you give us your last tip, for everyone who's listening, if you've listened to what Brenda's had to say, the question I'm going to ask you is, Brenda talks a lot about this negative thought process, and it's a common term. The first person who can type it into the comment section will be able to win her prize, which is a seat on your course as a 7-day unshakable confidence e-course valued at $97. So again, the question is, what does Brenda call that negative mindset model? It's something, a belief, that word I'm looking for, something beliefs. And I know we've heard them before, that it's the kind of things that hold us back, that, we have these processes that are not necessarily true, and they usually are keeping us from doing something. So the first person who can answer that will be able to win the prize. And I know we have a few people that I know who are listening live, like Stephen, I'm watching you, and we have Paul and Sabrina. Thank you for joining us. No worries about being late. That's perfect. We always love to have you here. And who else is here? Heather. So yeah, so we will, let me write it in here. So give us, what is Deshir Chalk, who says inner critic. Almost, it's the term used for the thought process, which is the something beliefs. I'm just looking for that one word. I have to make it fair. So the first person who can type in that one. She did mention it a few times. I'm sure you can give it another try. What is her name? I can't see here. Diana. Diana is the one who just answered that.
And I'll give you a clue. It starts with an L.
Exactly. Starts with an L, and the second word is beliefs. Oh, beliefs. Oh, hello. Okay, so while everyone is thinking about that, let's go dive right into your last tip. So I know you've covered a lot, and you probably could cover a whole more. We could be here till Sunday, but give us one more tip that would you say would help us get through this mindset, so we can, get ourselves to where we want to go.
Let me give that one a little bit of thought. Okay, what can we do? I think it is just to believe in yourself, really and truly.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, before you answer that, we have, well done, Heather. She had it right. Limiting beliefs. Woohoo! Congrats. So you have won the prize. So let me just, before I forget again, I will be losing my train of thought. So would you like her to get in contact with you by Facebook?
Yes, Brenda? If she wants. Yep, that's fine. That's good. Or if you want to, the link that I've got a link here. I can send it to you, and you can send it on to her. Whichever way, it doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah, that's great. So if Heather, if you can just send Brenda a Facebook message, and she'll send you the link.
Perfect.
That will be perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you were able to pay attention. Sorry. Reverse. Okay, so you were saying, what was the last one?
All right, I've actually changed it, okay? Other than the fact that you really need to believe in yourself, okay? And if you can't believe in yourself right now, find somebody to support you. So I always say, get yourself a personal board of advisors. That's normally 4 or 5 people. And it could be a coach. It could be a sage. That's that person who is a lot older than you, has a lot of wisdom, wants to share their advice and stuff like that. It could be, a pastor or a mentor or, a priest or a whatever. It could be a young, dynamic trendsetter friend, that keeps you on top of things and stuff like that. So get these people around you, because these are the people that are going to believe in you when you can't believe in you. And until and they will be able to lift you up and shine the light for you when your world is dark, because we all need that person that shines the light for us sometimes. But here's one, okay, and that is to expand your comfort zone. So, we live in a little bubble, we live in a little world because it's comfortable, and everything that we want is on the outside of this little bubble. It's on the outside of this comfort zone. And so for us to be able to get what we want means that we need to grow. But how do we grow? We grow by stretching ourselves. We grow by taking a step into the unknown. We grow by stretching our mental capacity to change the way in which we believe and do things. And so that when we do stretch our comfort zone, eventually the comfort zone becomes so large, it actually starts including the things that we want. Then those things become part of our comfort zone. And then we need to grow again, because there'll be new goals and new aspirations that we want to achieve that are on the outside of that edge. You know that little saying, feel the fear and do it anyway? Well, that is true. To grow your comfort zone, sometimes you have to get used to being uncomfortable. And sometimes you need to just, in that uncomfortableness or that discomfort, you need to move forward in any case. Feel the fear and do it. Because what you want is and you've got to move through that fear to be able to get what you want. Don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. The worst thing that could happen is you fail. And then
what? That's not so bad. You just get up and do it again, right? It's like reminds me as a kid, like I did horse riding as a kid, and every time the horse bucked me off, my coach, I'd be like crying, I want to go home. She's like, no, you get back on the horse. But I can't do that tomorrow. No, you do it right now, because you need to make sure that you show the horse who's boss. Second of all, you cannot walk out of here feeling down, because if you have a negative experience, you've now then embraced, you've conditioned your mind to think every time you get on a horse, you're going to be in pain. So you got to break through that fear immediately after you fail, which is probably why I never stop. Whenever something doesn't work for me, I'm straight on to the next thing. And people are like, you really doing something else? I'm like, because I know that if I sit and wallow in self-pity, it's just going to be like the wheels are going to fall off the bus. Yeah, so exactly. Like, seriously, it's so true.
Yeah, and failing is not failing. We attach this very bad connotation of failing is bad. Who says failing is only a lesson? That's all it is. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, find somebody who can, walk alongside you if you need to for a little while. If you need a bit of hand holding, call somebody, but move forward immediately after that as well. Failure is only feedback. The quicker you fail forward, the quicker you can actually get to where it is that you really want.
Exactly. I totally agree with that, because if you think about it, it's almost like I have this picture of it being like bumper cars. When you go to you in that game where the little thing is attached to the roof, and then as you're pushing forward, you bump into everyone and everyone's having a laugh. I think we just need to think about life and business that way, that you're going to keep bumping into things, but eventually you'll find that you get to where you want to go. You get to figure out how to maneuver this car. But yeah, I'm telling you, it's one of those things that we have to learn. But I know we could sit and talk forever, because we've got so many things, and you definitely know how to be able to give people a swift kick to get going. So tell us, how can everybody find you? What's the best place to get in contact with you?
Well, I love Facebook. I'm a Facebook addict, so you can always get hold of me on Facebook. I have my business page, which is just Brenda Tsiaousis, or my personal page, which is Brenda Ann Tsiaousis, and then my website, which is under revamp at the moment, but it'll be up in the next 2 weeks, and it is just beautiful. So do come along and do visit me. That is www.brendatsiaousis.com, and you can't go there now, unfortunately. It's not up at the moment, but visit me on Facebook. And if you're
you've got a Facebook group, what's the name of your Facebook group?
Facebook group is called Business by Design for Women in Business. Yep, and Business by Design for Women in Business. Sorry, guys, unfortunately, no room for you at the moment. It's just for women in business. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also because sometimes there's some things that you want to talk about that we find as women, especially as mothers who are juggling, running a business, not to say that men and fathers don't have the same issue, but we do have a little more work to be done when it comes to the mindset and getting ourselves over that initial, moving forward. Sometimes we just get a little stuck. It's good to be able to have that support. And also like masterminds is also becoming really popular again. And it's one that I'm actually planning on thinking of starting with a few people. It's finding, like you mentioned, that group, like that core group who maybe are on the same path as you. Maybe you don't want to go with somebody who's your competitor, but you want somebody who feels that will believe you, like, as you said, to shine the light on you when you're not feeling like you're having a really great day. And sometimes they say, hey, well, this was really good. Why don't you focus on this or try that? So that's definitely something. And then, of course, you do coaching too, right?
Yes, I do. And I don't just work with women. I work with the occasional very brave man as well. So yes, I do. I do life and business coaching. Generally, most of all, I specialize in the online space and entrepreneurial mindset. So a lot of online marketing strategies. I'm busy putting up my latest program now, which is a client attraction masterclass specifically for online entrepreneurs. And integrated into that is a whole lot of mindset stuff as well, because obviously client attraction means selling, and selling is
yeah. Tell you, that's something I need to hear, because I'm like, you want my product here?
I'll have to talk to you.
Yes, I know. You'll be giving, she'll be smacking me. I'll be like, don't make it hurt, but I know it would definitely be worth it. So I'm going to tell you. So, well, I'm going to say thanks to everyone who's joined us. I know we have Diana said, great blab, guys, great tips, advice, and information. I really need to hear this. So even if we were, the way that it's designed was just to be here for you today. I'm so glad that even if we help one person, it's been worth our time and effort, because I know somebody needs to hear this who's out there. And the great thing with Blab as well, the replays will be available. I also put them on my website. So if you want to be able to take your business to the next level in terms of visibility, my focus is helping entrepreneurs get more visible using video marketing. So like if you're fearful of putting yourself on camera, I will help you, like Brenda helps you with your mindset. I also kind of help you getting over that hump of feeling confident of putting yourself on camera, and helping you use that form of visibility to grow your business, attract more clients, and convert prospects into sales. You can definitely go to my website, which is mimikacooney.com. And actually, I have a free video toolkit. Let me just type it in here before I forget. You can, especially like the likes of here, like Blab, I'm going to help you, give you some tips for lighting. I know, Brenda, you look great with your lighting too. I must say, I'm very impressed. It looks fabulous.
No lighting.
How you put it. No lighting. It's the natural light. But you look like and I know you do videos, so you're comfortable on camera, right?
No, I'm not.
You have. I've seen those ones in your Facebook group. Don't lie now. I've seen them, and they're pretty good. Even in your lounge area with your big glass windows, those look really cute. So congrats on that. Exactly. So go ahead and grab that. And again, make sure to subscribe to our channel here on Blab. And if you're watching the replay, make sure to click to subscribe and share it with your friends, because we really would love to share this message with more people. And make sure to be on our list. Go to mimikacooney.com, grab my freebie toolkit, and I'll be sending more information by email. So I'm going to say thanks to everyone who joined us. And again, congrats, Heather, on winning our Mimika TV giveaway. That's why it pays to be on live. So until next time, thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Bye.